Frederick Douglas said it is easier to build strong boys than to repair broken men. Or it is easier to build strong children than to repair broken adults, if you want to make it like unisex. Well, the thing is, many people out here are broken. I've began to notice a pattern in a lot of broken adults that I come across. I've acknowledged the brokenness in myself over the past few years. And I know like everybody has like their imperfections. Everybody has their flaws. Most people have friends, family, associates who may point out their imperfections. And they might not lend a listening ear to be able to admit their flaws or their faults. But me personally, I was that person who couldn't, like, someone try to check me, be like, not go in one ear out the other type thing. But it came to a point in my life where I was like, man, hold up. Like, my addictions, my behavior patterns, like, I finally, like, acknowledged them. Became aware that the only way for me to, like, defeat a lot of the mental health issues, a lot of the bad habits, a lot of the behavioral patterns, to defeat them, I had to, like, change. So it's like, it is easier to build strong children than to repair broken adults. And like, a lot of adults walking out here, they like utterly broken. Like I see it a lot more in the youth, but it's crazy where, when I say youth, I mean like the late teens, early 20 people, but like even the 30-something people. These people are so torn apart, and I've seen so many people like crumble mentally around me. And I know, like, last year, my like wake up moment last year was when I saw Kodak Black's interview on Drink Champs. And I was like sitting there drinking, getting high. And I was like, damn, that probably looked like this. So like the day after I saw that interview, that's the last day I drank alcohol. The last day I did any kind of, illicit street drugs. You know what I mean? But even take Kodak for example. He's a young adult. He's still in his 20s, I believe. So I seen it in him. So and I've seen it in people that I really know in real life. And it's a reoccurring theme in our communities, where people suffering from mental illnesses, and they don't take the proper steps to combat them. I've spent even in my worst times, I spent hours upon hours listening to conscious teachers, i.e. Bobby Hemmett's, the Delbert Blairs, the Yaki Awakens, the Dr. Sebi's, the list goes on. Even in my worst times, I spent hours listening to them. So thank goodness I spent those hours in my darkest times to help me in my brightest times to really combat, like people like Andrew Huberman. I can't forget about the people from other communities who still, teach right knowledge. But like, from people like Andrew Huberman's point of view, who are actually like in psychological fields, who really delve into behavioral patterns, mental illnesses, and how to combat them. I don't think enough people in our community really go out their way to study this. And you see it especially in these young sisters. These young sisters with children, or maybe they don't have children. They suffering. They drinking like these young sisters. They drinking like sailors. You know what I mean? Like pirates. You know, Wimby just said he can't date American women because they remind him of NBA YoungBoy. They too masculine. No, they ain't masculine. They just mentally ill. They sick. They sick in their body. They sick in their mind. They're not taking the proper steps to implement the proper behavioral patterns like fasting, exercise, things that naturally get toxins out your body. Breathing, nasal breathing, breathing properly, eating properly, proper nutrition. All of these things, our young sisters who are the mothers of the next generation, and they the mothers. So if they eating false, what you think they feeding their children? So this cycle continues in our community, and I've been noticing it a lot lately. And like, although I'm still childhood trauma, we used to get high, drunk, suppressed. That's all we knew how to do at the time until we learned to pray. Yes, prayer is so important. And like, even on a I'm gonna get a little bit like extra, but even on a, like, when we learn how to pray, praying just like you said, learn how to pray. We were taught that praying is just Our Father, woo woo woo, or Allah the benevolent, woo woo woo, whatever kind of thing you learn how to pray. But there's more true ways to pray. You pray with you gotta be a walking sacrifice, as the scriptures say, or you have to pray without ceasing until we learn how to really interpret those scriptures and act on it and pray properly. Everybody might have their different way to pray. Prayer for me might be different than prayer for you, but at the end of the day, we got to meditate on those scriptures. We got to pray without ceasing, but we got to do yoga. We got to do things that get the physical toxins out of our body, but also the spiritual toxins out of our body. And like Christ said, some demons can only be eradicated through prayer and fasting. Not just prayer, but fasting also. So like, a lot of these people, like, they be tweaked out. So people be like, oh, somebody, like today, I ran across somebody I haven't seen in a while, and they weren't behaving in the way that I knew them to behave when I knew them previously. And another person told me that someone had slipped a Mickey on them. So this is the thing. You hear this all the time. People get Mickey slipped on them or whatnot. Now, I'm not sure if you can reverse that type of thing, that type of mental condition with prayer and fasting, but I'm pretty sure that's probably the most efficient way to do it. I mean, if anything else, so a lot of people who suffering from severe mental illness, severe depression, severe whatever, they need to be practicing prayer and fasting. They need to pray, like Baba said. You totally right, Baba. Like, our childhood trauma, that goes back to what I said at the beginning of this video, when Frederick Douglas said, it is easier to build strong children than it is to repair broken adults. That childhood trauma is breaking the child, right? He never said it's impossible to repair a broken adult, but that is so key to not only my generation, but the generation coming up under us and the one coming up under them. We gotta build those, we gotta mentor them, and I'm proud of myself because throughout my life, I've always been given nicknames. In college, they call me Sam's. They call me Radio because I used to carry a radio around all the time. They call me Mel Rock in my neighborhood. They call me They used to call me Kool-Aid because I used to always smile. I still smile like that. But like now in my workplace, the kids call me Coach Carter. And I'm out of all the nicknames I've ever received, I appreciate that one the most because it's like they recognize me trying to lead them. And when I was drinking, getting high and stuff, it was always in me to be a positive leader. But like, no one ever called me a coach. But I know because the boy who gave me the name, the young fella who gave me the name, everybody called me. So like, when they call me that, it kind of lets me know that I'm in a leadership season. And not leading just other people, I'm being a leader of myself. You feel me? So it's like, the reason why I even have this ability now to even be in that position to be in a leadership role is because although I was broken as a child, good things were still instilled in me. I was still taught, even though my head was hard, I was still taught right. So although I went my own route, I still retained righteous teachings, if that makes any sense. But at this point, setting a proper example is key for building strong children. But nobody is perfect, so we still gonna put pieces into the youth which ain't, totally righteous. We might break them in a few ways. We might say the wrong things, or we might plant weeds in their garden. But ultimately, if we just the same way positive things were instilled in me that I still retain, we just gotta go harder on putting that in the next generation, being leaders, so their childhood trauma don't, shatter their growth. But I really just wanted to talk about using fasting, using prayer, using techniques like no-fap and semen retention as adult men to help combat the broken child within us all. A lot of men, adults who've been broken as youth and who's dealing with childhood trauma can use no-fap and semen retention as a technique to repair the broken man inside of them. That's key. That's vital. That's vital. That's so important. And if you ain't interested in no-fap or semen retention, like I said, exercise. Fall back from the drugs. Fall back from the alcohol. I just want to share my experience, my testimony, my techniques, because they're so powerful for me to use. I know everybody in their journey may not be on the time I'm on right now, and it may not line up. But if you can get anything from me in your journey and you're, in that same path, I just want to let you know that, like I said, people I name, especially for people from the African American community who watching this, who ain't familiar with the people I named, teachers like Bobby Hemmett, the Yaki Awakens, who else really impacted me in that part from the black side. Well, let's go to the others, the European side. People like Dr. Andrew Huberman. I use him as I spent hours and hours listening to these people. Oh, for you right here, this book right here, Dr. Miles Monroe. one of the most prolific ministers of all time. In my opinion, people like that can help you on your journey. But man, don't get it twisted. I'm still out here struggling to repair myself on a daily basis. But like I said, there's people out here who calling me a leader right now. I was never, I ain't gonna say never, but I wasn't always the best example. And I'm still trying to improve my character, but I know I'm on the right path. And with semen retention, no fap, and other things that I'm doing, other techniques that I'm using, they're helping me. The intermittent fasting, these things will help you repair the broken man in you. If you're watching this on YouTube, I ask you to like this video, subscribe to my channel, leave a comment in the comment section. You know what's going on. I'm trying to push the message out. If you're watching this on any of my other platforms, and people like Bubba who commented on this platform, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you listening to me. You know, this is Jamel Redemption. This is RBMDRT, repairing broken men by doing righteous things. Thank you for your time once again. Peace.